Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be taking a look and ranking the 6 current MCU trilogies. There's 2 of them that have 4 movies, but I'm just going to look at the first 3, and I don't include Avengers movies in this. But without further ado, let's get started.
Ants! Ants! Antman!
Alright, let's get started with number 6. In last place, I have the Antman trilogy. So with all of these, I'm going to talk about each movie individually to give you a better idea of why I rank them this way. The bottom spot was between 2 different trilogies, but Ant-Man ended up being worse to me. I will start by talking about Ant-Man 1. This movie was a fun little origin story for Scott Lang. It introduces us to a bunch of characters that include Ant-Man himself. This is a great job because, Ant-Man isn't quite as well known as, something like Spiderman is. I thought the villain was okay, and their final fight was really fun. The way they played with scale was cool. Lastly, my favorite part of this whole movie was how funny it was. Between Luis, Scott, and Hank, they had a very funny cast. Ant-Man and the Wasp was a huge downgrade from the first one. It is one of the most boring movies on this entire list, and that is saying something for some of the ones coming up. I remember very few things about it. I remember Ghost, Giant Man, and the silly, school scene where Paul Rudd's, child size. I thought that was really funny. Other than that, this is a very dull movie that doesn't really change anything in the universe until the very end. Lastly, I will talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. This is probably the most disappointing movie on this list. This was introducing the big bad of the MCU. Kang obviously didn't end up being the big bad because of other stuff, but this still should have been a really big movie for him. Instead, it's a weird movie with too many main casts and really bad CGI. Kang also wasn't nearly as intimidating as he should have been. He got mollywopped by Scott and Hope at the very end pretty easily, and ants are the reason his plan didn't work, which is crazy. This guy was supposed to be the next Thanos, but he really wasn't a problem, and I don't know, this movie just wasn't it. There's a reason why this trilogy is at the very bottom.
I like it.
I know, it's great, right?
Another!
Sorry.
In 5th place, I have Thor, and I'll start by talking about Thor 1. Thor is nobody's favorite origin story, but it's better than I remember it being. I really like how Asgard looked. That's something I always remember when I see it. Whoever designed all of that did an amazing job. They made it look very godlike, I don't know, it felt like a Norse afterlife. They did a really good job. I really liked Odin in this, Loki and Heimdall as well. I thought they were all pretty good. Not as great as they're gonna be, but still pretty good. They still have not figured out how to make Thor work at this time in the MCU, which sucked. I thought he was way too serious and not the character we end up liking. The movie wasn't great and it only gets worse from here. The second movie of this trilogy is Thor: The Dark World. This is the single worst MCU movie in my opinion. It is so bad and unmemorable. I have very little memory of this movie, and I think that's my brain, protecting me from trauma just by blocking it out for me. That's how bad it is. Thor still sucks and isn't a fun character yet, but don't worry, Asgard still looks really good. That's cool. But I've got nothing really else to say about this garbage movie. I will never watch it again. Lastly, their saving grace, the reason why it's not in last place, Thor Ragnarok was their 3rd movie of the trilogy. This is a fantastic movie. Ragnarok is one of the best movies in the entire MCU, and this marks the time for me when they finally get Thor's character right. Not only that, but his, Loki's, and Heimdall's, they were all at their best in this movie. They all, I don't know, it was all perfect. And not to mention Hela. She was such an intimidating villain. She could have been a big bad for the MCU. I really think that. And having a Thor-Hulk buddy team-up was absolutely perfect. This felt like almost 2 movies to me, but in a good way. We have the first half where they're fighting in the stadium, they got Korg, they're doing all that stuff. Then the second half where they have to defeat Hela, and both movies are fantastic, and it's just one movie, and it's really, really good.
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
In 4th place, I have Iron Man, and let's start with the first one. I think this was one of the best origin stories of the entire MCU. This kicked off the MCU. This created it. We get to see Tony go from being a selfish jackass at the beginning to being a selfish jackass with an Iron Man suit by the end. I think Downey did an amazing job as Tony Stark. He really set the tone for the entire MCU. Like, he was always very quippy and sarcastic, and that kind of molded the MCU into what it is today. I thought the main villain was really lame. I thought Stain was, I don't know, lame. But the whole sequence of him getting kidnapped and, like, building the suit was peak. This movie not only started the MCU, but it, like, saved Robert Downey Jr.'s life, I think. And I think that's very, very cool. It revitalized his career and made him into, I think, the highest paid actor probably in the last 10 years, which is awesome. Then there is Iron Man 2, which was boring, but overhated in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, this is not a very good movie, but people really, really seem to hate it. It bothered me that he had any trouble whatsoever with the villain, Whiplash. The guy has, like, an exposed face and arms. Just shoot him with a laser. Like, just lasers, dumbass. Like, he could have died in the very first scene when he was walking on the racetrack. He was just, I don't know, he had whips. I thought that was crazy. I like that they got a much better roadie for him to have as his best friend. Terrence Howard is not great, and I don't know, he wanted more money than Robert Downey Jr. for this movie, which is crazy, because Robert was the star of the movie. I thought the scene where Tony created a new element was really cool, and I really liked his relationship with Pepper in this movie. Just overall, this was an okay movie. Hammer, the other, like, mogul business guy, I thought was really, really funny. I thought having him in this movie was a really good idea, and it enhanced it quite a bit. The board, like, all the bird scenes is really funny. I don't know. I thought this movie was better than people talk about it being. Lastly, there's Iron Man 3, and I'd say it's pretty similar to 2 in how good it was to me. Killian as a villain was okay, but I found the Mandarin to be a much more interesting storyline. I like that Happy was a much bigger part of the movie, and so was Pepper. I like Tony having to create cheap weapons to fight guards because it shows how smart and innovative he can be without money. He doesn't need the billions and billions of dollars to be a genius and invent things. He can just do that. Altogether, this movie was mid, and so was the trilogy overall, but Iron Man 1 really brought it above higher than the other two, and Iron Man 2 and 3 I don't think are nearly as bad as they could have been.
You deserve that.
I got ice cream in here.
You deserve that. You're a criminal. Bye, Mr. Criminal.
In third place, I have the Spider-Man trilogy. So Spider-Man Homecoming was a really good start to this trilogy. I am admittedly biased because I think Tom is my favorite overall Superman. Everyone says this, and I'm one of them that believes this too. I think Andrew was a very good Spider-Man. I think Tobey was a very good Peter Parker. And I think Tom was a really good mix of the two. I love seeing an age-appropriate Spider-Man that didn't look like he was in college like Andrew, or even older like, honestly, Tobey. I thought Tobey looked like 25, 30 in those movies. I really like that it was basically a coming-of-age movie, but it happened to have Spider-Man starring in it. Ned was really great in this as well. They never give Peter a good best friend, but Ned is truly goated. The fact that he said he was watching porn during a school dance just to get his friend out of trouble was really rad. I thought the Vulture was a really scary villain, and him talking to Peter in the car was the highlight of the movie. I wish this movie had less Iron Man in it, but that's really my only true complaint. Then there was Far From Home. This is the worst of the trilogy, but I do like this movie. It just feels kind of like a placeholder. Nothing really changes in this movie. It feels like a Destination Bottle episode in a show. The only thing that really did change was the world finding about Peter's secret identity, which I admit is huge, but it happens in literally the last seconds of the movie. I like that him and MJ are finally together, and I like how fun and lighthearted this movie felt. This is the first movie without Tony, but you wouldn't be able to tell because all they do is yap about Tony. I thought Mysterio was good. Jake Gyllenhaal did a good job as Mysterio, and it makes sense that he was just with a bunch of people that hated Tony because all Tony did was piss people off when he was alive. Lastly, I have the best movie of the trilogy, No Way Home. This movie's phenomenal. I don't want to hear about people just saying it's fueled by nostalgia because it's more than that. Like, it does have nostalgia, don't get me wrong, but this was a fantastic movie with characters spanning almost 20 years. They made a story make sense where there are 3 different Spider-Mans, multiple villains, and a hot Aunt May. That's amazing. This movie had some of the most hype scenes in all of the MCU, and this has been the best MCU movie to come out since Avengers Endgame, and that's been think 6 years. This movie is really, really good, and people hate on it because they think it's nostalgia, but it's not all nostalgia, I promise. This movie holds up. In second place, I have the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy, so I'll talk about the first one first. This movie was a big risk for the MCU. This is a group that isn't super well known in the comics at the time especially, but they just wanted to see if they could make this movie good, and they did. They hired James Gunn, who did a phenomenal job, by the way. He understands how to make the weird, like, I don't know, the offbeat hero. I think he does such a phenomenal job at that, as we've seen with stuff like the Suicide Squad or Superman recently. He's just very good at putting heart into what he makes. But no, the movie's really good. I love seeing all the characters come together and meet each other and hearing all their backgrounds and why they need to get together and why they need to do everything they do. Like, it explains everything without it seeming like it explains everything. It really introduces us to, let's just say, 10 important characters that we've never heard of before, and they did a good job of us caring about them by the end. Like, how many of us were crying at the very end with Groot? I know I was. But yeah, no, this movie's really fun and had a really good vibe to it. And it also had Chris Pratt before I got sick of Chris Pratt. All right, then there was Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which I admit I don't like very much. This, to me, is the worst of the trilogy, but I don't know where in my mind I used to really hate this movie. This used to be at, like, the bottom of the list for me, and I don't really like it, but I don't hate it like that anymore. I don't know how that happened. My biggest issue with it was the fact that they just took stuff from the first one. Let's just say, oh, Groot's being silly. Let's add a million scenes with the Groot being silly. Oh, Drax doesn't understand something. Let's add a million scenes of that. It was just all overkill and beating a dead horse. And I don't know. I thought that was silly. But like all the stuff with Yondu being his father, that was a really good scene. And Ego and learning that Ego killed his mom was insane. This was, I don't know. There were parts of this movie that were really, really, really good. I didn't like it super well overall, but there were parts that were very, very good. Lastly, one of the more recent movies on this entire list is Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I thought this was a really good movie. This is top 10 in the MCU easily. Something about it, they just got the tone completely right. They had a really good story, and getting the background with Rocket Raccoon and how he was tortured, and the villain, I can't remember his name, but he was really good. He was scary, too. I like the world that the villain created and all the different set pieces they had for this movie, all the different places they went. It was all very good. I really enjoyed just seeing Rocket Raccoon not be like human. If he was a human, it would be that. Like, he is human. You get to see the different side of him. You get to see why he is a dick sometimes. You get to see all this other stuff. It also had a great F-bomb, which we hadn't seen in the MCU yet, so that was really good. But yeah, no, this was a fantastic trilogy.
You just don't know when to give up, do you? I can do this all day.
Lastly, at number 1, I have the Captain America trilogy, which is funny because one of them to me doesn't seem like a Captain America movie, but it is in title, so I'm counting it. So I'll talk about the first Avenger first, obviously. I loved this movie so much more than most people did. I don't usually like war movies, but this kind of, I don't know, throw superheroes in and I'm interested again. I thought it was really good. One of my very favorite scenes in the entire MCU comes from this movie, when they're all like working out, they're all training in the army, and they just throw a grenade down, and everyone else runs out of the way. Him, before he has superpowers, jumps on it and tells people to get away. He was trying to save people's lives before he had the power to do so. This is the moment he became Captain America in the eyes of the people making that decision. He was so just good and right, and was doing everything he could to help people. And I thought it was so cool. Like, even going back to when he was back in Brooklyn and just standing up to bullies, and I don't know, he was doing things that people with power don't always do, and that's really shows. I thought the Red Skull was pretty good in this movie. I thought he was a good villain, and I don't know, it was funny that this is during World War II, and the Red Skull was the guy that everyone was worried about, not a different angry mustache man. I thought that was fun. But yeah, it was always good. It's always good seeing a Nazi get punched in the face, especially by Captain America. All right, then the second one, I might do these out of order, and I'm sorry if I do. The second one is Winter Soldier. Yes, I think it's Winter Soldier before Civil War. I thought, either way, I'll talk about Winter Soldier first. This movie was so good. This is one of my favorite movies in the entire MCU. I love a spy thriller, and throw superheroes in there. It's just so much better. And characters and Nick Fury and Captain America. It's so good. Then we look at the stuff like the elevator scene. Are you kidding me? Between the elevator scene of him saying, like, if you guys want to get out, and then just destroying them, to, I think it's like minutes later in the same movie, Captain America flexing a helicopter down. That's crazy. That's absolutely insane. And they still made it like a serious, good movie. This, I don't remember if I have it ranked this way, but I think this is my favorite movie that isn't Avengers Endgame or Infinity War. This is an amazing movie. Just everything about it. I love that we didn't know Bucky was still alive, but this, I don't know, it was very, very good. Lastly, I will talk about Captain America Civil War. This was just honestly another Avengers movie, and it was so good. I love seeing the different sides fighting and why they're fighting, and I don't know, how it's all being manipulated. I thought this was, I don't know, just, it's like, I said it's like an Avengers movie, and it is kind of like that. It's like you, okay, here it is. I got a good analogy for you. It's like you are at a vending machine and you're getting a snack and 2 snacks fall down. It's like, oh, I wasn't expecting an Avengers movie. And it was so good, and it was so fun. And I don't know, I like seeing all the different reasons why people chose the different sides. And I don't know, these 3 movies in this Captain America trilogy, not trilogy, that's silly, are just phenomenal, and they are pretty much the best the MCU has to offer. I can't think of anything too much better aside from actual Avengers movies. I really, really like this, and it deserves first place. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Comment below what the ranking you would have been. Where would you have put each of the 6? And tell me why. Comment on these, because it helps my videos. That'd be cool. And if you do like this, please subscribe for more, because I post videos like this every single week. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you next week. Bye.